Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Hello, welcome to TFYLP episode 403. I am here tonight. This is Lucas, and I am with Christian.
What up?
And Rob.
Hi.
And Peter.
Forever Destron, vote.
Yes, we're in the last week before the election, so I guess this is October 26th, so we're coming down by the next. I guess the next TFYLP will be right before the election. But,
go vote. Do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and Zaldron reminded us the book club is going on, that they're doing issues 6 to 8 this week. So if you're joining in with that, go ahead and need to catch up
on Sunday.
There you go. Look at you.
I thought they did that.
No, I think they did 4 to 6.
Oh.
Or 4 to.
You're right.
Is that
You're
it?
right.
Something like that. So yeah, it's whatever the next one is. So after that.
My mistake.
So anyway, so this week we're going to be covering the another virtual convention, because I guess that's all there is now. I think there's a handful of like in-person small conventions from what I hear, like on the East Coast, and I think there's been a few here or there, but not a lot. So
no thanks.
I'm gonna pass this time.
I really hope that we can actually meet in person next year. Like, that would be really great.
We had a room party.
We did.
We had a not TFCon, not room, not party last Friday night.
Yep. So
a bunch of us got together because we should have been together and we weren't. So
we would have.
Anyway.
Yep, we would have been together had this been a normal year.
Yep. So TFCon decided to do a virtual TFCon. So they ended up putting up some, I guess, full panels that they had done in the past up online. And then on their page also, they kind of had a virtual dealer room with some exclusives, which I believe that at least a couple of them have already sold out. I know the MMC Batman or whatever it is, I think, sold out already. And then I don't know if Christian, the one you're getting, was he?
Yeah, Helios. Last I checked, he was still in stock.
So if you want those, I know a lot of times those go fast. So I think there was also
which one is going really slowly.
The Windblade.
Carblade.
Windblade.
Oh, Wheelblade. Sorry.
I really would like to.
No one is buying that.
I would really like to get a nice Windblade, but like that's just not. I don't know. That didn't interest me.
I don't know. I don't know why they would make that.
I like the mold. I like the mold a lot. As Minerva, as Windblade or Wembley or whatever. Yeah, no.
I would have taken Lady Nightbeat. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you swing and sometimes you miss.
Yep.
I thought that Batman was a miss too, but clearly I'm in the minority since everyone bought it.
I mean, I think that's fun, but my shelves are full enough.
I was rooting for Senator Wing Thing. That's what I really... Representative Wing Thing is what I wanted.
Well, there's always another show. Like, they'll probably beat that mold into the ground just like they do a lot of the other ones, so don't you worry, Christian.
Man, that thing would be violently orange, and it comes out in October in time for Halloween. Yeah.
We have like 4 goddamn Wing Thing toys now, or something. It's ridiculous.
I want every single one. Give me more Wing Thing.
we have more Wing Thing than like regular
Wrong.
B characters. You know.
Yeah, I was a little.
Farah.
I was a little disappointed with the Batman because I was like, oh, who am I going to splay him with? And then I totally forgot, oh, wait, I had a drift pool that Peter had picked up for me at a TFCon before. I was like, oh, that would have actually worked really well. And so I don't know if Planet Steel Express is going to put more up, so I may end up getting that, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm getting the Wing Thing, or not the Wing Thing, I'm sorry, the Senator Ratbat mold out of that, so I think that one looks cooler anyway, so.
Just start a Twitter campaign.
But, and then MMC released yet another version of their Ravage. Like, I think.
Why?
It's a
cool
really
toy,
good mold,
but
though.
I'm
It's a
good.
cool toy. Yeah, I actually kind of like that, and I think that, like, if you're having trouble getting that mold, like, I don't think that that's necessarily a bad version to get. So, because it's like part of it was clear, I guess, which I kind of would worry about the stability of the figure, considering it's a little bit, like, easy to break with those missiles anyway, but, you know. Oh, well. All right, well, I guess we want to get into the slides here.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay, so I guess starting off, we've got Make Toys, so...
Who are surprisingly not dead.
I'm
Theoretically.
legit surprised.
Well, are you surprised that what they're doing is more Seekers?
I'm not surprised by that.
Nothing new. Just stuff they'd announced before. You know, they're doing Acid Storm, a green version. Like, I mean, I don't.
Acid Storm looks kind of cool. It's a combination of those colors we haven't seen before.
Yeah,
I like it.
I don't think it necessarily looks bad, but Sunstorm had terrible QC, so bad that it completely sank the purple generic Seeker, like the Hot Link type or whatever.
Hot Link, yeah.
You know, like it did not fund, and so now they're doing this as a main release. And Acid Storm has a bit more, you know, notoriety than Hot Link does, but, you know, not as much as Sunstorm. You know,
main. It is an exclusive.
Oh, it is? I
Yeah,
missed
it's
that.
exclusive to TF Source.
Got it.
Well, I was curious, are all of the figures just coming out through TF Source, or are the rest of them at all the rest of the retailers, too?
They don't
guess.
say if they are. Like,
Oh, I guess
'cause
the one does say just at TF Source, so yeah.
they're doing Starscream again, which seems absolutely ridiculous with the new Takara one, especially on the way. I don't know. Maybe there's a market there for it. Maybe
So,
people say.
the one
But-
thing I'll say about that Starscream, though, is, like, it's probably only going to be like $100 or like 120 or something, right? And the Masterpiece is going to be 200. And so I don't
Numbers
know.
there
Maybe
are
it's
low,
140. But yeah, like what I think it'll be cheaper, and I mean that Starscream is a really nice looking jet as well, and it sounds like that they're coming with some new faces, and I know everyone complained about the darker faces, so it's kind of nice. It's, you know, we're getting a lighter face, so
Some blast
Yeah.
effects and whatnot.
I'm
yeah.
kind of vaguely considering getting it. I sold my other one because it was, you know, expensive to sell, which is great. But if this one's back down to normal retail, I might grab it. We'll see.
I mean, it's a good mold and I enjoy it, but they really cheaped out on a few things that really annoy me, and they did it across all of them. Like the tail fins fold, and then that piece in the middle is never painted the right color and just sticks out like a sore thumb. You know, it's put a little paint on it or put it in the right color, or like there's some clips like on the back wings that are usually the wrong color on most of them, that again, put that on the right sprue or paint it. Like, come on, guys. And then, you know, the divots in the leg thighs, like, kind of stand out a little bit. You know, not the best engineering choice, but it's still a great toy. It's a lot of fun, but milking it so much and never addressing any of those issues, I just kind of felt was poor form from them. So, you know, it makes me very lukewarm on them doing more Seekers.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they can, make up for their QC issues, I mean, I think it's nice that we're actually going to see the Coneheads released. I know that for the people that got Endgame and, were like disappointed that it seemed like that these other guys may have never come out. It's nice that they're actually, doing those. And then, of course, Starscream is, I'm sure that he will probably sell as well. I'm sure a few people are probably disappointed they're not doing, re-releasing all the Seekers. But I mean, you kind of figure with Takara nipping at their heels with their masterpiece that they probably just want to get this stuff out now before Takara drops their stuff.
Like, I haven't seen eBay, but I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of Meteor as well as his two main brethren going up on eBay over the next few months. So people that I think want the option for it will probably see the supply increase in the near term. Like, I don't know if Takara will get around to doing the Coneheads again, given how honestly not well the original ones did. But I totally expect them to do Thundercracker and Skywarp. Like, it's just a given. I mean, if Make Toys is going to keep using this mold, I'd like to see G2 Thundercracker. That I would totally buy, but
I would absolutely buy that.
But here we are, without it. Maybe next TFCon.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I felt like that the G2 Starscream that they did, that Make Toys did, seemed like it never really sold out. Like you could always still get it. So, and I thought it was a great looking figure. Like I really liked that. Yeah.
I can't speak to obviously at large why, but for me, G2 Starscream isn't that different. Whereas G2 Thundercracker is like completely different color scheme, and it's very drastic. Whereas G2 Starscream is a lot tamer in that vein. That'd be my guess, but I don't know.
But yeah, and then the figure that you never thought you wanted, the Cross Dimension Shockwave.
Does anybody want that?
Well,
have any of us bought any of their Cross Dimension stuff, period?
Yes.
Lucas bought it all.
So I got it all. Like I was totally in Cross Dimension. Like before, years ago in 2016, when they released...
Decades ago in 2016.
When they released Optimus and Megatron, like they were fantastic figures. And nothing had the articulation that those guys had. They looked really cool. It was just something they were really fun to mess with and whatever. But then they've not released, they've released a few figures here or there, but, they did a Power Master Prime. They did a Jetfire that was like right before the Hasbro Jetfire. I don't know. It just seems like a lot of their choices have been kind of like too little, too late. And I think like I would have been really excited for this like 3 years ago. But now it's like I've gotten like a Hasbro version. It's cool. Like there's a really nice Planet X version coming out, which is going to be later in the slideshow here. I'm just not sure I need this.
I definitely don't. It's one of those that it's its own thing. I don't think it fits in with anything, and so I don't think you can really get much beyond like hard-hitting characters. There's the kind of the phrase that Optimus Prime always sells and Megatron always sells. I don't know if Shockwave's always sells or not. So.
Well, this is a very obvious retool of the Rider Despotron, which was the Megatron.
Okay.
So, and the thing was they showed off a Galvatron like a couple
2
years ago.
Yeah.
And that Galvatron looked really neat, and we don't have a lot of good Galvatrons. Like Mania King was probably the only other Chug one I think that we've gotten. We had the Fans Toys, but it's like if you want a cool Chug Galvatron, it didn't exist. And now, like by the time they release a thing,
Hasbro's Universe Galvatron.
God,
come on, it's basically Masterpiece toy.
I think it would have been better if it had come out as Voyager like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, so like if that Galvatron, even if it came out now, but then by the time they actually release it, Hasbro's gonna release their version, and probably someone else will do, another version too. So
I mean,
the Kingdom one's going to knock it out of the park anyway. So if they ever come out with a cross-dimension Galvatron or whatever they're calling him, it's going to be too late.
Right.
Except for the die-hard cross-dimension.
You know what wouldn't be too late though? For them to finish the Headmasters or the Target Masters that Make Toys started a gajillion years ago and designed, and then
it showed prototypes of 2 years ago. They showed not production samples. They were grayscale, but they were there in the case.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. Probably not, but.
And I mean, looking at the dates that they have for these Seekers, they've got January, February, March, or whatever. I'm still waiting on their reissue of Downbeat with the premium deco, which was supposed to come out in June or July, and it's October now, but it's been pushed back to December, and
it's not even on here.
It's not even on the slide deck. So, what kind of faith am I going to put in Make Toys in their release schedule? I'm not excited about their Shockwave. I am excited about their Seekers, but I don't have faith in their timetable. But that goes with
that's almost every company.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if they get it within 2 months after when they think, that's pretty solid. That's usually pretty good, especially with the modern way things are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just Make Toys is one of the top third-party companies before, and then they've just fallen off over the last few years. So it's too bad.
It is.
But next we have Planet X. And so first we're showing off Helios, which was Christian's figure that will be coming here.
Yeah. It's a Delta Magnus Power Convoy, Magna Convoy version of their Optimus and Ultra Magnus figures.
That head is so Diaclone. I can't even.
It's really Diaclone.
Like in a good way. Let's be clear, but... So Diaclone.
I bought their Magnus just a couple months ago when it was on clearance at BBTS, and I opened it finally last week because I bought it and then it arrived later, and then I opened it later than that. So I opened it and then this was announced. I was like, I'm not sure that the armor is really cool, but the inner robot looks really great because it's got that Magna Convoy metallic blue. It looks awesome. But the longer I kept that Magnus next to my workstation, I was like, this is really growing on me, so I decided to grab this. I'll let you guys know how it is. It looks cool.
He's got a hammer.
He does have a hammer.
Does the normal release have a hammer, or is that...
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, this is pretty much just repainted from the original release. So, I think this might actually work better than the Ultra Magnus. Like, I don't know, like, the Ultra Magnus just never really worked for me. It just seemed too small. Like, it's a beefy figure, it's just not that tall.
Yeah, it adds bulk rather than height.
So, but the inner blue Prime looks really neat too.
Amazing. Looks amazing.
And let's see, we get through, and then of course their Shockwave, which I think that actually looks really neat.
It looks nice. I don't need it.
So
yeah.
Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say, Rob?
It looks great, but I've kind of, I don't know. I think it's awesome that Planet X has a niche, and they keep working on their niche. I think that's really good. But I've also kind of gotten enough of the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron stuff, and it's hard for me to drum up the interest anymore for it. Like, I mean, I like what I have, and I'm going to keep what I have. And even though if this Shockwave had come out like 5 years ago, kind of like you were saying earlier, I would have been all over it. These days, I'm just kind of like, it looks cool, but I don't think I want to spend $100 on it or whatever it costs.
The other cost issue with them is that everything they've done, bar like just a couple figures, has gone on clearance recently in the past year or two. So it's do I really need to do that?
Like, I don't think we ever knew what that was, but it was a pre-order for clearance. Which the best people could come up with is that they had a warehouse of unsold stock and Big Bad bought it all at like 25% MSRP to sell it for 50% MSRP. That's
very odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've had a couple figures.
But they're still making stuff.
They are.
They've had
I've
a couple.
regretted paying full price for anything that has later gone on clearance, but also it might pay to wait. That's not a good way to go into a small third party company like that.
No. I was gonna say though, like their Optimus Prime sold really well. Their Grimlock is always like they've re-released that multiple times and done exclusives and whatever, and those have all sold out. So I think that it probably just depends on the figure. Like they've had a few that have been really nice sellers that people have wanted, and then they've got several others where they haven't.
I mean,
quite...
the Starscream was clearance. That's a great toy, and it's Starscream, so I can't pick out a rhyme or reason for it. Yeah. That, or they just still, even with Starscream, they just way overestimated,
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. I mean, again, when it went on clearance, though, it's been years. So we're talking, like they put that Starscream out years ago. So like the fact that went on clearance, I don't think is necessarily indicative of low sales. Like I do think that the Ratchet and Ironhide, like those went on clearance pretty immediately after they came out. But at the same time, like you could kind of
reason for that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know those went on clearance. It's another case of 5 years ago, I'd have been all over them, but when they came out, it was like $90 each, and I just was like, I'm not $90 interested in this.
Yup.
Right.
And they're big figures, too.
I mean, I think that those figures, they weren't so amazing that, like, for me, I looked at the Hasbro figures, and I was like, I'm not sure that those are, $90 worth it in comparison to Hasbro. Now, once they went on clearance, they were, but...
but also this line gave us paddles, so this line forever holds a place in my heart.
And then they're also doing an IDW Grimlock.
That one looks really interesting. I might go in for that.
Yeah, I'm pretty down for that.
Yep.
I can't believe no one's done IDW Grimlock before. It's
MMC has one in the pipe after DZEF is released, so like 7 years from now or so, based on pre-orders.
Yeah.
I completely missed that.
Yeah, no.
It looks like this one.
Apparently, the MMC one is supposed to come out like next year at some point. Like, I guess Rick or whatever I follow on Twitter, had said that they're pretty far along with that one.
This is 3 years old when it got announced.
Yeah.
Right. I think they retooled
it's a
it.
retool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what the issue is with MMC is that several years ago they were doing a lot of repaints and whatnot and
heavy retools, and
a lot of their figures were very didn't necessarily look like the source material, and that kind of got them some bad publicity. And so I think that over the last couple of years they've really tried to make everything as accurate as possible, and including the Grimlock. So I think that they kind of went back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
What's that? Well, except for Braun, but everything needs a repaint
for the most part.
Rob.
And at least looking at this old MMC Dinobot picture, the Planet X one looks way better. But that was 3 years ago. Who knows? They may have went back to the drawing board on it as well, just because, as you said, they've kind of realigned after kind of getting a little off the path there for a bit. But Planet X has been kind of going against MMC for the IDW stuff with their Desirus is already out, and it's an excellent figure. Thank you, Lucas. That's my source on that one. But no, it's a great figure, and if this Grimlock is as fun to transform as that one is, and is nice of quality, I think it's going to be a real winner.
Yeah, the only thing that's a little disappointing for me, I really like all these IDW figures, and so it's somewhat frustrating that some of these third-party companies are putting out the same figure instead of some other ones Nautica has never come out, Ultra Magnus has never come out in IDW. Of course, I mean I know there's a Hasbro version, but
Tidal Wave.
Yeah, Tidal Wave, whatever. I mean, there's a whole slew of these characters that would just look amazing.
Yeah, it's always weird when they start cannibalizing each other for what is a small market, somewhat a shrinking market, and there's plenty of other stuff to do. But some people are getting there, which are coming up.
Yeah. But yeah, so hopefully, supposedly this Planet X Grimlock is actually supposed to be out relatively soon, like, within the spring. So,
What?
I mean, yeah.
Nah, I don't.
That was the rumor.
That.
Now, I don't know. Again, like, you never know based on these slides. I mean, they could have a prototype, so.
This is line drawings.
Right. So we don't know,
this
if
is
they
the
just
2 years plus category.
right.
If this comes out in the spring, I will eat a sandwich that I was going to eat anyways. But
I don't know. I mean, yeah, we'll
crazy
see.
bet.
I
So
can say eat my
next
hat,
we
but I
have.
don't own any hats.
I was gonna say next we have Zeta. So apparently they still exist.
There you go, Dustron. That's the face I wanted.
Which one? My face?
The cringy face when Lucas said, "Here comes Zeta."
Here comes Zeta.
I know what you're thinking because it's the same thing I'm thinking.
Yep. You showed the wrong stuff, guys.
Showed the wrong stuff.
Anyway, we're looking at the miniaturized Superion. It's like a downscaled.
Okay,
What?
How big is that thing?
It says they're 5 centimeters individually for the limbs, and
How
the
much
big
is
guy's
that in
like
freedom units?
23 centimeters for the combiner. So it's like this tall.
Sorry,
It's 9 inches tall.
Chris.
Can you
9 inches
convert
tall.
that to American? 9 inches.
Yeah, it's the combiner's 9 inches tall. The single body height it says is 10 to 12, so that's like 4.5 inches tall.
Yeah, you guys.
Is it a legend
believe
scale?
Yes.
It's Legends-ish. You guys better believe that if it had been like Combiner War scale or current deluxe scale-ish, I would have been all over it.
That would have been a winner. That would have been an easy winner. People would have
Legends,
thrown their
hard pass.
people would have thrown their Hasbro Superions in the garbage for a Superion that looks like that. That's at the proper,
Yep.
13-ish inch just alt scale. They would have been like,
I
Hasbro, no.
love my Combiner War Superions, and I really love my Zeta Superion. So if they had made that, the same size as or in scale with my current Hasbro stuff, amazing, easy winner, perfect. Legends, no, absolutely not.
I don't know why companies don't do that though, because a lot of the Legends have kind of increased in size as we've been going along, and so doing it at that same scale as is Hasbro, I think you could actually go after 2 different markets, with it. Because if the combiners are a little bit bigger, no big deal. But so anyway,
Whatever.
I don't know.
Weird.
We'll see what
Potential.
happens with it. I mean, yeah, if it's a pass for all of us, I think. But if it's a success somewhere, then we'll see probably more in this vein.
Well, the question I have too is the price on it, because I think the what's the company that Anna likes? Magic Square. So I think that their Minosaur is like over $200 or something. So which is like crazy for a legend scale figure, I feel like.
Some of them are pretty pricey.
Yeah.
They are no longer like the cheap collection option.
No. That's kind of why
it's still
I got
cheaper
out.
than like, the Masterpiece analog, sure, but.
And
they're
Rob,
more
I know that
expensive
you
than
make fun
deluxes.
of me for getting out of Legends, but that was really kind of the big thing, was when they started becoming $50 or $60 a piece. I was like, all right, like that's old Masterpiece levels. I think I'm done. So, all right, I guess there's a new company called Kidman.
Hang on, Peter and I need to talk about Zeta for a brief moment in
sure.
time.
All right, Zeta digression. Where the hell are the train bots? What the hell, you guys?
They're coming.
They're coming. It's
like a
further
few
in the
slides ahead.
slides.
But not in Zeta.
Not
It
for
is
Zeta.
totally Zeta.
Because
They're doing the same thing they did with Cell,
Right.
where Takara
Where
they announced to
where
Raiden.
they broke it off. Yeah, I know, but no.
I 100% believe Moon Studio is Zeta. I have, yeah.
Also, for the diehards out there, they're still not doing any updates on their Predaking, which people wanted.
Predaking? There's a Predaking?
Did they actually announce a
There's a
Predaking? When did they do that?
Yeah, they had a Predaking before Raiden.
Like
right?
they had like 3D renders or CAD designs or
Yeah.
whatever of it or something.
Huh. Interesting.
I was talking with someone today about that. Like, where is the Gen 1 style Predaking? And we couldn't think of one. There's like always over stylized, like, ooh, look at me, I'm Predaking, and we'll see one coming up. But
It's Zeta, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, someone should, because it's lacking. We need it.
Right. So next we have Kidman Grimlock. So I think that these are actually like articulated figures that don't transform. So I don't know. Do you guys have any interest in these?
No.
I don't think either of these will ever actually be produced.
Yeah, they just don't look that great. Like, I do think that the Flames Toys figures, like, I do think they look neat. There's a market for those, but like, I don't know. These just don't really hit the mark for me.
It feels like every TFCon, there's one or two like random new name companies that put out some 3D renders of stuff, and sometimes they show that same stuff for 2 or 3 years, and that's it. Like, where's that Hiss Tank thing? And I get it. It's an ambitious person with something they're passionate about, trying to make it happen. And I'm not trying to take a bat to that person's kneecaps, but sometimes, from an outside view, it's like, that's never going to happen.
I mean,
I could be wrong, but I don't think I'll be.
I feel like those guys are just taking a shot in the dark, and based on like they got in the slide deck, and if people started sharing it online and whatever, they could show that there's a market, and then they could take it to wherever and say, hey, give me funding, because you could see that I got X number of likes on Facebook and wherever else. So
yeah,
either give me funding or buy my design.
Yeah.
And then they move along. I'm surprised. Like, we're going to see one coming up, Lemon Tree, that they're still out there planning stuff. But
I think Lemon Trees. I think it's going to happen.
They actually released, I think, their Optimus Prime. I didn't realize they had released it, but I think it's in Asia now.
Did not know that. Really?
So yeah, I think there's actually reviews out there. So. So the next company, Megatank, which is another one of these, this figure does transform, and I actually think it looks really neat.
It looks awesome.
This one was revealed, I don't know, what, a month and a half, 2 months ago? We saw this somewhere, and we talked about it in the group. It was in there, because the face was blurred out, and we were giggling at that.
I think the face is still blurred out.
It is still blurred out, and we were like, I wonder who that could be. And but yeah, this one looks pretty good as like a realistically stylized Gen 1 blah blah whatever labels you want to slap. I think it's pretty.
Like, the level of detail on the paint reminds me of like the Toy World Bumblebee movie Prime. Mm-hmm. And like, it looks at that level where it's just slathered in really cool detail and accents. Assuming that it comes off the factory like this, because this is a 3D printing prototype color painted sample, so this is hand painted. If they can get a factory to produce something with that much detail paint, without fucking it up, that's going to be a really impressive piece. Mm-hmm. Kind of, even if you're into it or not, I don't think anybody can deny something like that transforms with that much detail is going to look cool, even if it's not for you.
And I think the neat thing is about this is it looks enough like other stuff that you can kind of stick it into a few different collections and say, like, you could totally put that, like you said, with the movie Optimus, and say, here you go, they fit together.
Depending on height.
Bumblebee movie Megatron, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, let's see. All right, Fans Hobby. So, of course, they showed off the wheel blade that we talked about before. Let's go.
Here's an add-on kit for Overlord that you can't buy anymore. I don't think. I mean,
Well, are they re-releasing it? Oh, no. They're re-releasing Double Evil.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, that's been sold out for a while.
Okay, so this is when you get the IDW cannon that fires missiles, some new hands, new colored chest plates, and
some faces. Optional eyes. That's.
Oh yeah, you can have the poked out eye.
Red eyes. Yeah. I mean, I think if you're going to IDW, you probably got the MMC one, but I don't know what the availability is on that either.
That one's been long sold out too, so it's probably not bad to re-release this.
Yeah. If you like chunky boys.
Yep. And then Naval Commander. I think, Christian, wasn't this one of your favorite upcoming figures?
This is one of Sergio's favorite upcoming figures, and it's looking closer to getting to what he and I would both like. except Sparkplug, the Minicon.
Oh, it's
still
bad.
looks like trash. It's really bad.
But also, who cares?
Right.
In the grand scheme of
the
things.
Prime himself is looking better. It's not quite there, but it's looking better.
Yeah, I think the Prime looks really neat.
That backpack kibble, though. But I mean, I get it. It's Optimus Prime when combined mode. What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do though?
You gotta put it somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's better than the original figure, of course. So.
Right.
Wow. How could they top that?
Yeah. Look, man, it's been 17 years since that figure. It's nice to see it revisited.
Yeah. It's cool that it has a Matrix in there as well. I don't think he uses that in the cartoon. Maybe he does. He does.
When he
does.
It's been too long. Okay.
And he uses it when he croaks, and then Prime or whatever, Sparkplug, whatever name he's using, he holds it up at one point. Like,
It's really cute.
I do love.
I wish they would go back and do Sparkplug again because it's bad.
So bad.
It's slightly better than the last time we saw it, but it's still really bad.
It's so bad. It kind of reminds me of that the alternative Bumblebee / Cliff Jumper. Just the big chest and the long legs that kind of fall out of it.
So which one is Sparkplug? Sorry, I don't know.
The yellow Minicon.
Ah, okay. I mean, hey, at least he has articulation, I guess, right?
Not in car mode, which is the only mode you would ever have that in.
Yeah.
Why would you put that in robot mode? I think the base mode looks really fun. It's neat to see, with all the modern Minicons and old Minicons, rather. Oh, yeah, it's got both on there, it's a cool display.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that it is really neat. I mean, Fans Hobby, you can tell these guys are fans. But, I think that the Laser Prime is really cool as well.
Would you say it's their hobby, probably?
There you go.
Just checking. The next one is the one I'm excited for.
All right. MB14.
Too fast. I missed this.
Yeah, let me know when we get there because I can't see you.
I think we're there. We should be there.
We're there.
Energon Prime is happening.
Oh wait, which one am I?
Perfect people.
No, we're not there.
Sorry, we're not there yet.
there.
Which one? I was trying to figure out which one you were talking about.
He's talking about Voltron Prime from Energon.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, MB14 is before that.
Yeah,
it
that's
looks like
Cab.
Cab.
You guys
Okay.
talk about Cab.
I was really
Cab
drawing a
or
blank.
Hosehead or whatever you want to call him.
Hosehead, there we go.
In Master Force, he was called Cab. In 1988 US stuff, he was called Hosehead. But it's the same deco, same toy, same whatever. But in the vein of their Minerva or Athena figure that they did, and their wheel blade, it's a little fire truck. It looks way different than you did in the cartoon or in Gen 1. It says it's pre blah blah blah, but this thing looks like it was printed in 2 minutes. It looks pretty detail free in truck mode, and it's really short.
It's really stubby.
Yeah, so hopefully it gets better.
Well, how are you gonna fix that?
I don't know.
That's a major design difference.
Right.
That's not like oh, we forgot a spot for a faction symbol. Like, no, you forgot half the truck.
We made a box, a little box. Cute little. The robot mode looks good from what we can see of that. And the little headmaster dude has already been released in a couple of different decos with their God Bomber sets, I believe, where they've been shown off in a couple of different decos. Like there's like a shadow deco and an all black deco for the headmaster dudes, I think. No, is it just me?
So is this scale accurate, like in bot mode?
In the cartoon, all the headmaster juniors were roughly the same height, but they also, I guess, want because of the heads, because all the heads are all the same,
Right.
interchangeable thing. So they're obviously smaller than the regular headmasters, but so the toy's roughly the same heights, 2-ish, but he's a full fire truck, just a really small fire truck. But this one they actually made him a stumpy little ladder box thing, and it looks.
Fans Hobby continues to make me sad with their Master Force stuff. Like, I would love a Minerva, I would love a Hosehead / Cab, Neither one of these are doing it for me. Minerva didn't either, just because it's not toy based, it's not animation accurate at all. This one is closer in robot mode to animation. Like, I mean, it's not perfect, but it has a lot of the cues, but it's also missing a bunch of stuff. And then that truck mode is laughable. I can't imagine picking this up.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, more than likely nobody else is going to do these, especially with Fans Hobby doing them. You know what I mean? Like, who's going to do a second version of these?
Maybe eventually.
Somebody will eventually. They're going to run out of side swipes to do, and then they're going to.
You say that.
I know. They're going to make sideswipe I don't know, a donkey or something. I don't know. I'm glad that there's a hose head or a cab coming. I got the Minerva. I love her, and I'm going to get this guy too.
I feel if KFC had not pretty much went under, and in a way, like, I know Keith's obviously still there and still doing stuff with the XTP brand, but the KFC brand is pretty much dried up. He got the rest of the Junkions out, but the Power Master Prime isn't going anywhere. I feel if that project either resurrects or KFC keeps going, like that continuing on the Master Force line, because Buster and Hydra were next for KFC. I think they would definitely get to the Headmaster Juniors, but KFC's really been on a hiatus for a while, other than the Junkions that finally saw the light of day.
So 3 or 4 years now, aside from the Junkions.
Yeah, that's been. Yeah, they lost their designer. So, what are you gonna do? However, they also have pictures in here of their Go Shooter, and he looks pretty dope.
Yeah. Yeah, that group shot looks really good.
The car mode group shot does not.
All right, so next I think is this Christian's one that you're looking for, Christian? MB18.
Yes, here we are. Get hype.
Energon Prime is happening. Someone's finally doing it. I'm so excited. I really like the original figure and idea, but it suffered in execution. I think having another pass at this with a larger budget will make it really, really cool.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks, man. That sounded really genuine. I believed you.
This figure came out when I was about 25, and it was a rough year for me personally, and cynicism had already taken deep roots in my soul. And I was like, I find solace in Transformers because I've always found solace in Transformers. So, let's go find some. What the heck is happening here? I was happy when we got the Wing Saber, figure that made it better, and Omega Supreme made it better. But the initial rollout was not my friend.
When this came out, I was in that buy one of every mold phase of my collecting. And even then, I could not make myself purchase that one until I was at the mall one day at KB Toys, and they had a 2-pack with Energon Prime and Energon Galvatron in that purple deco on a clearance sale, and I bought it then.
What?
Yeah, and I still have the Galvatron, the purple Galvatron.
Time travel me to that sale. I want to go there.
Yeah, but I no longer have the Energon Prime. I still hated that thing, even at getting it at a super discount.
Christian, they're asking us in the chat to skip past this crap and get to the good stuff.
Wow.
Hey, we don't set the order of the slides, all right?
I'm excited for Energon Prime. That vehicle mode has always really been cool to me, particularly the angle of the trailer where it carries all the mini vehicles. So yeah, I'm super excited for this, and the trailer becomes a base, and it's all fun. So, yeah, we're going to stay on this as long as I want. It's not crap. We can move on now.
All right, next we have Moon Studio, which is, I guess, the,
totally not Zeta.
Yeah, totally not Zeta. But here you go, Christian. Here's your Raiden. And Peter.
And me. I'm super stoked for this.
Well, there you go.
So, here's the thing. Someone needs to make a Raiden happen. This is the third one, or second if you really think this is Zeta, and there are still none in my collection. So either Takara needs to finish theirs, Zeta needs to make this, or if this is Zeta, it needs to happen. I'm tired of waiting. It needs to be here now.
Or something concrete beyond just we're going to do it.
Yeah.
I want pricing. I want prototypes. I want pre-orders. Let's get rolling, because these look fantastic. I mean, if this is the Zeta one or if it's not, both of them look really well detailed.
I mean, it's
It looks pretty
exciting
much
to
like the
see
same
more
design.
pictures of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like in
Especially if we get
CAD.
to go through all the individual robots, all the individual train modes. It's fantastic. And I mean, yeah, I want a masterpiece or chug or whatever. There's gonna be masterpiece-ish scale. But yeah, I already have 3 in my collection. Not masterpiece. I've got the Zone one and the Headmasters one and the Diaclone one. But not the Diaclone Redecos.
I have the SCF one.
I have that one. Oh, I have that one too. Yep. I need the junior set.
Like, I'm not completely unconvinced that, Hasbro and Takara were fighting Zeta, there for a brief flash, and that Takara didn't say all that just to try to shoot down Zetas. Because Takara hasn't shown shit either. With just a vague announcement that we assumed to be Masterpiece.
Well, there was... Go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, they did make the announcement, and they did say it was Masterpiece back last December. And then there was supposed to be an event in March called A Railway Story in the Sky, which was a collaboration with the Tokyo train lines, in real life train lines. They were going to have a big event where they were going to reveal it and have themed trains. We assumed, Peter and I assumed, and it was going to be super cool. And then we were
so excited.
We were really excited. We were super hyped. I remember talking to Peter about it. Peter, you've got weird connections over there. If there's stuff in merch and swag, you got to get me some of that too. And then, Corona times. So it's out there, and we'll probably still get A Railway Story in the Sky one day, but
when we're all in the sky.
One day. So, but in the meantime, Moon Studio may potentially release this.
I hope they do. Bring it to me.
And then Kang Toys, they're showing off more of their Predacons, which I've heard that these figures are pretty high quality. I don't know have any of you guys gotten these figures?
They're too far off model for me to care.
Yeah.
Same here.
I've heard they're good, but they're very stylized. And Kang Toys has to be TFC, right? It's totally TFC.
Yeah, I don't know.
TFC made way too much stuff to just disappear, and this feels like TFC.
Look at what TFC was missing, where they were headed, and the design of these, and then think about their Abominus, which is coming out concurrently with this sort of. Is there Abominus still? I mean, we're on part 3.
I didn't know they were making one at all.
Yeah, I think it's called Satan, and they're on the 3rd one.
Oh man, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's around. It's just no one cares anymore. Poor TFC.
The design moved on,
All right, so next we have Lemon Tree, which they are making some, I guess, I don't know, third-party chug scaled things, whatever. They're based on the Transformers movie, so they are also releasing a Shockwave.
I want Purple Potato, and I like this deco a lot better than the original super shiny deco they had revealed it with. Mm-hmm. I don't know which one they're going to finally release, but I don't know. It's too weird. It makes the ship. I think that's cool. So the rest of it, I don't know. And I'm not sure what the scale is of those. If they're not going to scale with my Toy World stuff, then I don't know that I have too much a place for it. Maybe I do. It might come down to price at that point.
I think that they're supposed to be more the size of MMC reformatted Planet X stuff. So
based on
Voyager
the hands
scale.
And the screw holes, yeah. Based on the articulation of the hands and the size of the screw holes that you can make out, it looks like a Voyager-y-ish size, which is a good size.
But yeah. I mean, I think these are neat. The question is going to be again what the quality will be like. I do like those movie designs. I think it's neat to someone's doing a higher quality version of these toys.
Yes, we got Soundwave,
Soundwave.
Ironhide, and Blitzwing. And Studio Series Blitzwing just recently came out, and it's pretty good.
Good.
But it'll be interesting to see, what they do with it as well. I don't know if they'd shown prototypes before of him, but he's in the group shot.
And then they showed off the Shockwave.
Yeah, a different Shockwave.
Or different, yeah, the movie Shockwave. Yeah, and then this is the Blitzwing, Starscream, whatever mold. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'll just be, we'll see what actually comes out, and what the quality of that is. But I think it looks promising.
I really appreciate Ryan and Stacy's joke about Starcream.
That was on Amazon.
Was it?
Yeah, on the Amazon Japan for, I don't know if it's still there, but like if you search for Masterpiece Starscream, because I was looking for the movie version to go up, and the listing was for Starcream.
Nice.
For at least a while, like months. I don't. Yeah.
All right, Rob. Here's your slides here. X-Transbots.
Oh yeah, I love all of it. I love all of it. I'm all over all of these things.
So Autobot X, does this thing transform?
No.
Okay.
It's just an action figure, basically.
Woo.
I want an Autobot X. I don't want it to be that size.
I mean,
by the way, just assume that is my response for everything in X-Transbots presentation.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like an abomination, which is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so
it looks great.
And then next, I think we have, is it the Breastmasters? Is that right?
Yep, for Desirous.
Desirous.
And they have teased Desirous for years. Like, they never put anything in a slide, but there are, like, small shows Keith has done at, like, not America places, but they asked questions in English, and he's like, they're like, are you going to do this? He's like, oh, we're doing a Deathsaurus, we're doing that, so, like, it's been name dropped for years. This is the first time we've seen some of the design for it, so.
Yeah, but again, it's like a bunch of renders, so it's hard to say. I know that Autobot X was in physical form at TFCon 2019, maybe?
Or it may have been 2018.
It may have been 2018, yeah.
They had some janky, like, 3D painted prototypes of that, and, like, their Alita 1 and their Cup. And like, they were also shoddily put together, but they kind of got an idea of what they were going with. They've juggled their schedule around a bunch the past couple of years to where, like, right now, I think Desirous is supposed to come out, was either late this year or next year at some point. He had a really ambitious schedule he posted, like, before COVID hit. And Desirous we figured out was on there. I'm pretty sure it's what it was, but obviously,
yeah, I don't know.
I know he wants to get it out though. I know that, but
I'm curious with these figures that are a little bit bigger. If it's just hard to, from what I hear, that it takes a lot longer to, kind of refine those figures compared to like some of the smaller ones. So I don't know if that's part of it or what it is.
I mean, I think it's definitely going to be the largest figure X-Transbots has done, just looking around. I think it looks great. It looks very on model. Like, I haven't pulled it up with the cartoon exactly, but usually XB's really good at that.
It's really close. Like the Breastmasters, everything looks really close. Even his sword. He didn't come with a sword originally in the Gen 1 toy, but this one comes with a sword, and it looks like the one from the cartoon.
Yeah. And how long ago did we see the renders of the Breastmasters, like on the box art of something?
It's been a couple of years.
Yeah, like it was on like Skids or something, I think maybe.
It was on Skids or on the Skids repaints. It was somewhere in that era. Yeah, somewhere in that era.
So yeah, we've known it's coming, but this is the first full picture we've seen, and I feel like it's very different than what MMC is doing, or that Planet X did. It's right. This is my G1 Masterpiece version, so.
Bingo. That's one of the reasons why I'm so pumped for this. I just got and opened for my birthday KFC Simba, so I've been playing with Victory Saber, like flying him around the house all weekend and just being obnoxious with it. So having a Masterpiece scaled Gen 1 styled Desert to go against Victory Saber is just, that's what my heart's been screaming for. And the ZDef and the Planet X one, which I'm opening next week, which I also got for my birthday, those have different places in my collection, and happily so. I'll get all of them.
All right. So then they're showing off the Omnibots here. Are you guys excited about those?
Yes.
Same responses earlier. But yes.
I mean, I think these could fit into a small. I mean, these are going to be smaller figures.
They're going to be like XTB Carbots are in robot mode are like Masterpiece sideswipe height.
Yeah.
Unless they do something different here, but like their Stunticons, they're all at that height. That's where they put their cars.
Yeah.
Which if I was doing MP would be perfect because I really liked that scale.
Yeah.
But I'm not anymore, so it'd be nice to have Omnibots in a classic scale, but I'm sure Hasbro will get to them eventually.
I mean, I think these guys look really neat. Like, I love the deco in robot mode, so...
Yeah, it really emulates the stickers. Just the cars are on model, like bam, that RX-7 is popping. It's fantastic. And they didn't show the Celica.
The pop-up headlights.
Yeah, they didn't show Downshift, who's a Celica XX in Japan, or Toyota Celica Supra in America. My first car. in white, no less. So yeah, special connection there with me and Downshift. And yeah, so that's the one they didn't show.
Like, this is, I think, an interesting release just because, these don't have animation counterparts. So you get a little more freedom with that, and they're obviously, real car mode with, Masterpiece kind of leanings, but with the sticker detail. And I think it's an interesting choice that totally works for me. Overdrive just looks so good. So good. I love that little red car.
The weapon mode's in there. I mean, they could have not done it. They could be like, yeah, they're just going to do the real cars, and that's what they're going to look like. No silly toy gimmicks for us. But they did it. They did put the toy gimmicks in there.
Yeah.
I think it looks really neat. And I think even if Hasbro does these, I don't necessarily know that they're going to do them like this. So.
Oh, no. I mean, it'll be completely different. It'll be a $25 toy.
Right.
It's going to be very different. Those look awesome.
I'm glad somebody's doing them.
Yeah. Now when will these come out? I think everything we just saw will probably be 2 or 3 years if we're lucky.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's the somewhat annoying thing. All right. So now we're going to go on to Mastermind Creation. So I know that
we have one more.
No, we have one more from X Transbots.
One big one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I skipped past it.
They're doing Defensor, and so we see Streetwise.
Oops.
He looks pretty dorky in robot mode, which is how he looks.
That's how his animation model looks, is dorky.
Yeah.
But he nails that Nissan 300ZX and pop-up headlights, looking sharp.
Blinking gold rims.
I think it's funny. So we were talking to Anna about this because she really loves Defensor, right? And wants like a ultimate version of Defensor. But she's upset because the ones that are coming out are super G1 and not stylized. And I said, my response is like, well, if you want to stylize one, Make Toys made one like 8 years ago or whatever it was. So
it's like 5-6 years ago. And then there's an upscaled version. So it's a little bit cheaper and easier to find. I don't know what she's going for.
I thought that was TFC that did the Defensor.
No, Make Toys did one. I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
And then TFC did one too.
Okay.
That was way off model.
Oh, I remember the Make Toys now. I got it. Yeah.
It was a Vulcan.
I forgot TFC did one?
Yep. Yeah. It's actually a really fun toy, in my opinion. But
I think that was the first third-party thing that I got the Streetwise first. Gumball. I got it, transformed it, and was like, no. And I sold it immediately. Just
which one?
Gumball. They're Streetwise. Yeah, TFC Streetwise. Yeah.
Okay.
I sold that one to the guy who lived above my apartment because he ended up also being a Transformers collector.
Nice.
Small.
Wow. Look at that.
His particular niche, he had a lot of things, but he really liked police car transformers, so he bought that off me.
Oh, and so I guess we should say, begun the Defensor Wars have.
Right.
Even though I know X-Transbots, again, has been working on this for a long time. I know, like, years. It's the first thing we're seeing, but it's not like they just started this the past couple of months. They've been working on it for a while, and so has MMC, who we'll get to next, or, shortly. We saw, like, the line drawings of that, again, years ago from MMC. So
Right.
both of them have been cooking their versions for a while. But they're both going to be pretty different, too. They're doing different things.
Okay, so are we good to go on to MMC now?
Yeah.
The good stuff. So, all right. So first off is DZEF, which they've shown this off again for years. This is another one that showed up at like TFCon 2018 or something.
He's one that's been coming out next month for the last 2 years.
Right.
I feel like they must have just been punting him down the production schedule because they realized, we need to get out some other things that we promised, like finishing up the DJD. They really took forever to finish that up.
I think,
and it's so awesome they did, but I think things like this got punted because of that.
I think part of it is like once Planet X released theirs, they probably are waiting for that to sell out. So that new fans or whatever that want a Dosaurus, can get this. But I mean, again, I think that this, both of them are IDW, focused, but this one looks a lot different than that Planet X one. So I really love the head sculpt in both modes.
They look like they're both designed by the same source material, but this one was drawn by Milne, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'd agree. So
I think this looks great, and I love every MMC figure I own pretty much, except for like one or two. So I'm sure this will be a great figure, but my niche is filled with the Planet X one.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to buy it for G1 MP.
See, and I'm excited, but since I sold you mine,
yeah,
I can get this.
Hey, everybody wins.
There you go.
Everybody wins. I'm surprised here. It looks like he has die-cast in his feet, and MMC hasn't done die-cast in the reformatted line in a while. Like maybe some of their Ocular Max has.
Ocular Max has, but I don't think that reformatted has actually.
Yeah.
So.
And for those who like a Gen 1 flavor, there will be that Continuum set. It's not like an add-on kit like the Planet X has. It's a full different release of this figure. It's not shown here, but just something to note.
But I mean, hey, they showed it 2 years ago, so you can find those images.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they're out there.
And so Vexo Perminion, that's the one that we talked about before, the Batman, that was the exclusive, which sold out. And then get through this.
I wish this had been, just a quick note on the Vexo Perminion, I wish it had been more Onyx Primal decoed, because when they showed the all black deco, I was like, that's Onyx Primal. Oh my god, that's gonna be, and it turns into like the Batwing. That's pretty cool. They're like blending stuff. It's like a pre-Earth mode Onyx Primal. I was hyped. I was ready to go, and then it was like, no, it's Batman. It's like, oh, now I'm less hyped.
On that note, like, how far can you get into Batman before they start risking the ire of DC? Like right now, I mean, that's a pretty loose homage for something that's really niche that doesn't have a lot of. I can't imagine DC gives a fuck, But that's kind of a new flirtation for third party. Like, what got some of those third party companies shut down was that those factories were producing like
Iron Man.
Yeah, Iron Man knockoffs, like straight up knockoffs.
Right,
like,
but these are like so different.
They are, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you start. How much can you flirt with that? Before
they start towing that line, and I mean, just even the third-party Transformer companies did it, where they were like, "This is kind of based on a character, kind of based on a little closer." They and now we're just like, "This is this guy."
Obviously, yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I think that they'll be fine as long as they're keeping it like this, and it's not exactly like another DC figure.
Yeah.
So.
Just be careful. I don't want MMC to get shut down. Be careful.
We could remember the Punisher that transformed into a gun from Marvel, And
Yeah.
we could get an homage to that from a third-party company. It's like a pistol, but it's like a big rocket.
And then it never ships to the U.S.
Yeah. Look it
In
up.
a probes.
Look it up for those who don't know what I'm talking about. Punisher Transformer.
Oh, you're gonna get punished.
Yeah, you will.
All right, so they're showing off the Torter, which is coming out pretty much now. So I
It's
think
already
Rob
out.
already has it.
Had it for weeks. It is awesome.
Yep.
It is huge.
Where'd you get yours from?
Planet Steel.
Steel
Oh,
Express.
Express. Okay.
It hasn't hit the
What?
U.S. yet, so. And then the Chrome Dome, which looks amazing. I'm very excited.
Still
Apparently-
concerned that they haven't painted the face.
What are you expecting to see painted?
I don't know. It's
Like his
just
eyes
all-
are painted. His
Are his eyes painted? It just looks
Yeah.
very uniform to me, which is odd.
Beige is the color of resignation.
I think
Yeah.
it looks accurate. I mean, this is the thing that's hard when they're trying to make it accurate to the cartoon or to the comic book, is like it's accurate. Like, and there's the same way kind of with their Hot Rod or Rodimus or whatever, that it's accurate, but then it kind of all blends together a little bit. So,
I'm
as far as
fine
the
with
colors is what I'm referring to, not necessarily the form.
like I'm super excited for this figure, and I have been since they announced it. But I've had some people point out that like some of the proportions are a bit off and a bit wonky. And on the one hand, I don't disagree with them, but it doesn't diminish my love for this set. Nonetheless, like I'm super stoked for it, and it's really dumb robot or car mode.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But
I'm still excited for it. Just the face bothers me a little.
Yeah.
It's probably accurate. It's just.
I'm excited. And then, of course, the Rewind as well. So that's going to be super exciting.
Still don't really like him.
He's accurate, though.
I know I'm like the only one, but like I would rather them come separately so I don't have to buy him.
Oh, my God. How
What?
could you not have them come together?
what?
Because I would have a different Rewind to go with him. Not
What
that
Rewind
one.
would you use, though?
I don't know. Probably my club one from back in the day.
Okay,
The one by
sure.
Ariel Lemon that was released by Nonef about 4 years ago.
I didn't get that one, but I would have options.
You know what? I have a feeling that if you want to sell Rewind on eBay by himself, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because some people are going to need two for Rewind and alternate universe Rewind. Spoilers, sorry for 7-year-old comic or whatever, but
They're going through
There's
the
some
book club
shenanigans
right
that
now, Rob. You have to spoil it? Come on.
Killed the book club.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I didn't say anything that happens other than there's an alternate universe Rewind at some point. Surprise! The story eventually has various universe stuff. Just prepare yourself. It gets fun.
I like turtles.
Anyway, and they
See-
can hold hands. I mean, this is great.
That is pretty cute.
I'm gonna get them and make them kiss.
You should.
There you go. And then, of course, Getaway. So that's super exciting. I'm surprised it's taken him this long to release this figure. You know what I mean?
I thought Getaway would already be out by now. Like,
Right.
you could have pre-ordered it quite a while back on Planet Steel Express. It's probably still up for pre-order. I don't know.
But I'm saying even back, I mean, how long has their Hot Rod been out? It's been out for a while.
Yeah.
4 years or so.
Yeah. So, and then of course their Optimus Prime, IDW Optimus Prime, which I'm very excited about. I realize probably a lot of other people aren't because I know that there's been a million Optimus Primes, but
I feel like there's a lot of hype on this. Like, I came around to it. At first, I was like, oh boy, another Prime. But then I was like, oh, wait, it's that Prime. And, they're so, like, gung-ho on, like, look at how much articulation. We put in all the articulations, which is something that I enjoy. So I've come around on being pretty hyped for it.
What I'm
I feel
not
the same
hyped on.
way.
Oh yeah. What I'm not hyped about is the head redesign. I like the old head better.
There's always one.
I like them both.
They
I
should
don't care.
include both.
maybe they will. It'll be like a Planet
All
Steel
heads.
Express exclusive.
Yeah.
If you put a gun to my head, I like the new one better. But if it had been the old one, I wouldn't have ever noticed. And it wouldn't bother me at all.
I don't think I really care that much. They both look pretty good. But yeah, this new one, I mean, just the level of articulation with it, and I'm just happy to get this size to go with the rest of my IDW collection. Because it really bugged me that, Optimus Prime, like that. I don't know. I guess you could have done whatchamacallit, the Zeta slash Toy World Optimus Prime. I guess you could use him as your IDW.
That's like once he came to Earth. This is like on the Cybertron era when he was like a cop and stuff.
So,
and I guess we should wait. Are there slides later of is that Star Convoy?
Yeah, there's a picture of him with Star Convoy as well, which that looks really fantastic too.
We'll get to it. There's plenty of slides down the road.
I know that there's.
Okay,
I
didn't know if there was or not. I couldn't remember.
So yeah, the articulation on this Prime just looks really, really good.
Crazy knees, crazy hands. His waist. He has like.
I'm a little worried about the hands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like they're a little overly detailed. To the they look bony and skeletal. Like I think they're the worst part of the figure. They're super articulated, which if original KFC stuff is any indication, sometimes that level of detail on hands is annoying. So I just hope they got some good engineering and tolerances figured out for them. That's kind of, as long as that's good, then I'm good.
That's what worries me too. I never liked the KFC hands just because, like they could fall apart and whatever.
I haven't had any issues.
To call me crazy. I don't like that this thing has so much articulation. It's too much. I think it's way too much.
You're crazy.
I mean, it's
too much articulation.
I mean, well, so why does
and I also why do they fill these gaps?
Like, I don't need that.
Why not?
Like why?
Because it makes it more expensive.
If he's gonna fight the heavies, he needs to be articulate. He needs to get in there and do that cop stuff. He has to yell at the Senate. He's got to do all the things.
I mean, for what it's worth,
one dude on Star Wars.
I mean, this is masterpiece level articulation. People that haven't been collecting Takara don't realize how much they've really stepped up the articulation on most of their stuff. Starting with the new Prime, or not new anymore, but the latest version of Prime. Like and this kind of reminds me of that, where it's just action figure level articulation in something that transforms somehow. So,
I think his vehicle mode looks good with the cannons and stuff.
It works. It sure is Prime with his legs behind him and his arms on top of the legs.
I think he will look nice with the roller that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Rung.
The best thing in the panel.
Yeah.
What's this guy's name?
Ring.
Who is that? What were we talking about? I can't remember.
Rang?
What? What were we talking? I forgot again.
Wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
How long have we been waiting for this to be announced? Like
Years.
since they started doing IDW stuff?
Centuries.
And I love that they're, just tons of hands, tons of head sculpts. I feel like they're really doing everything they can to really do this right.
Hate that.
Really?
Why do you hate
really
things that are good? Quit making your things high quality.
I am going to pick one of those heads, and that's going to be it. The rest are going to sit in a box or a bag forever. I don't need to pay for that extra nonsense. Just give me one good-looking head and one set of hands.
These extra hands and heads don't really impact the cost of things to any noticeable degree.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I don't believe you.
They really don't. It's about the perceived value of the package. Prices are made up. That's why MSRP of things is like 60% over what it actually costs to make or something like that. Little add-ons like that don't add, it's not like, oh, that's 50 extra bucks for those. No, not at all. At all. But, it adds value to the package.
I think the thing is MMC's, I think, has had a hard time at producing some of their smaller figures at a price that people want to pay or whatever. So they've like tried to do some 2-packs, and they've tried to do some other things. And so I think that this again is like one of those things where they're trying to get that up to the $100 level or whatever it may be.
I'd rather have a bunch of accessories and hands and heads and stuff than a throwaway brawn.
Yeah.
And that, I think what Lucas is getting at is like MMC is like, we have to sell this at $100 or it's not worth for us doing. How can we make the value on this feel like you're getting $100 worth? And it's, here's a trash brawn, or here's just a crap ton of cool heads that way everybody will have something they love. Because we're selling it for $100 either way, or else we're just not going to make it. And that's what brings it to market. Or whatever the price is. I'm just using that as a number. But, if it's under $90, I'd be surprised. That's why he probably has the little scooter thing as well. I'm sure
I think
part
the
of that
scooter thing is great. Like,
it's so cute.
I don't know. I like that.
And it has the little ship.
I'm kind of the same way where I just don't care that much
that
about
is
all those
that I
hands.
really want. Absolutely.
So
they should release ARC ships for Rung to hold in every subsequent MMC release from here until the end. Just that way he can have his whole collection. Yeah. And the final piece is a shelf for him to put them all on.
You need to send an email.
I would be okay with that.
Yep.
I'd love that.
And also, Christian, I guess that you've been voted off the cast, apparently, in the comments.
Okay.
So, yeah, they said that...
no. Veto.
Yeah.
Veto.
Paul,
That's not happening.
Paul is saying here that that you're being such a hater or whatever. That
Paul is saying that I'm a hater. Okay. Sure. Who do we have to get on the show because somebody hates third party as a whole? Yeah. All right.
Well, he's just saying that our cast has enough talking heads, and so we have too many talking heads. We don't need all these. They're making the cost of the show get too expensive. We just
look, man.
Can I jump in with some breaking news? I'm sorry. This is something. It's from Ryan, who did the presentation, the third party presentation. It's Bright. It's Toy World Jetfire as a battleship.
That's kind of cool.
what?
I'm baffled and aroused.
I don't even know. So here, hold on. Let me.
All right. Just to frame this conversation we're about to have. Toy World had nothing in the slideshow.
Right. There were a number of companies that didn't have anything for the slide deck.
Yeah, which has been a recurring theme. Companies just say, you know what, we're huge. Like Fans Toys didn't have anything this year. Weird.
Which is
but Toy World has a huge line of their movie-inspired stuff that has a backlog of designs and figures that we're not hearing anything about, along with a build-to-figure star screen.
Peter, can you show that off in your screen now? I actually made you...
Oh, they had pre-orders for that, Rob.
But
for what?
The build-to-figure star screen.
Oh, just as the figure?
The Toy World figure or whatever. Can you get back to that? Show that off? The breaking news.
They have pre-orders for the other three.
I can hold it up
so that you can we can at least see it.
Oh, I don't know how to.
I don't know. I wanted to at least make it so that viewers could actually see it.
I'm watching the slide deck on the phone. I'm a computer engineer by trade, and I don't know how to do computers.
But so it's...
No, that's okay. I just figured at least that way they could kind of see it. Maybe we can actually find it.
It's just odd that they're showing off, here's this other big design, like, 'cause that's a big design there. And again, you're so far behind the pipeline, and we're not really hearing a lot about some of these other things. So I don't know. It's an interesting move.
About 2 weeks ago, they put up pre-orders for those biplanes and the Bumblebee, Barricade, and Hot Rod World War II cars.
I remember seeing the Barricade and Hot Rod and Bumble.
Okay. Well, I need to
Has anyone gotten those Toy World World War II figures? How are they?
Put up pre-orders 2 weeks ago.
I thought didn't they release something?
They released the Bumblebee in like 800 colors, and like the little tank thing, Bulldog. Bulldog's really nice. They're both really heavily painted. Bumblebee's over-engineered and not fun to mess with. It looks excellent. They're both very detailed. Bulldog's actually quite good. Bumblebee's kind of meh, but you want the Build-A-Figure part, so that's the short versions, in my opinion.
Lucas, I put it in the chat, our chat on the Skype call. I don't know if you can but it's from the link is from our inside group, so I don't know if you can share the picture.
Yeah, I don't know if I can.
I mean, is this on the things, right?
It's out there. Yeah, it's gonna end up on.
People know how to Google.
All right.
There you go. It's interesting.
Anyway, so Rung turns into the IDW.
The spoilers.
Shh! Don't.
The thing he turns into. The thing that he turns into.
Turns into a mystery.
Into a thing.
He actually doesn't transform, don't you know? He doesn't have an alt mode.
Okay. All right. So Ocular Max. So first I showed off. This was the Ravage we were talking about before. So I think that looks neat. If you want a version of that mold, I think this is not a bad one to get.
Spooky Ghost Ravage.
And then Star Convoy.
Woohoo!
So yeah, this looks really good.
I like that, we saw, again, like a prototype version of this either last year or year before, like at their booth.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
So I like that we're seeing progress. Like it's, this looks, I assume, is like a production sample or something. It's fully colored. It doesn't look hand painted. It looks like it was made this way. Because for better or for worse, like you can see some swirly plastic in the gray, which happens a lot with gray plastic. It looks so dorky, especially in truck mode.
I love it.
Real dorky.
Yeah, which again is what it does.
I mean, I think it looks like it has pretty decent articulation too.
Oh, it's definitely better than the brick I got over there. No, it's very cool. I love seeing the masterpiece style stuff get into these weird niche corners now. It's really fun. I hope things like this sell for people, because I want to see more of it.
I'd like to see a hot rod to go with this, a Micromaster Rodimus. I mean, that would put it at Legends-ish scale.
Yeah.
Based on how big this guy is, but still.
Maybe they can get the Fans Hobby spark plug designer to do it.
Go home.
And then, of course, we have the Perfection series, their Defensor as well. Now, Rob, the Bruticus that MMC did, like, you were pretty, and Peter, you guys are pretty happy with that as well, right? Like, is that your favorite Bruticus that's come out?
It's definitely my pick of the ones that have come out. I have it in my masterpiece shelf, but like, do I feel it really fits there? I would say no, and that's more to like paint concerns, like things of that nature. Engineering wise, it is super fun. Like all the individual, I still haven't actually got around to combining mine yet, but the individual modes are a lot of fun. I love the idea of it built-in combiners is, I find that neat from just a nerd aspect. Like is it a requirement? Not at all. But the fact that they're doing it, I find is cool. I've heard an interview with the designer. He just did that as a personal challenge. And MMC's like, you really want to do that? Can you do it? He's like, I can do it. And so he did it. And like he kind of had to sell them on the idea of it by proving he could do it.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know that part.
Yeah. It was he did like an hour or two interview with Pake for Life. I'm pretty sure it was Pake. Because he gets a lot of MMC stuff like to show off. Like they have a good relationship. So I want this because I think it'll be fun, but for my G1 MP, since X Transbots do it, that's going to be the better fit. So I really want this in G2 colors from MMC. That's what I want.
I would love Ruination.
But I don't think MMC doesn't do a lot of G2 recolors. I mean,
they've done a couple. They did the Watermelon Mirage.
That is true. That is true. They haven't done anything with their Bruticus set yet. Like if that gets a G2, I think a G2 of this is going to happen.
I mean, the fifth figure, Brawl just came out, right? Like,
I got mine weeks ago from Baba Bobo. So that's shipping from China, so it's not. I mean, it's new,
recently,
but it's not like, yeah.
I mean, maybe they were just waiting on getting everything out and giving everything time to breathe before doing crazy redecos.
So no, this looks pretty cool. Other than Hotspot's shoulders look really, really chunky. They're real chunky. But I mean, I don't know if the engineering is as fun as the other set of. It's going to be a really good toy. I just cannot find a spot for it.
Yeah, but I mean that looks pretty good in combined mode though too.
And if you watch the actual video on YouTube of Ryan going through this, they have an animation of showing how the transformations work, except for Groove and Streetwise. Those just kind of all of a sudden pop in because they're still working on them. But the other ones you can kind of you see them all fold out and go in, which is pretty neat. It's the same as they did for the Bruticus set when they were first unveiling it. So, Christian, do things like this at all have a place in your collection, or are you just like, I got Combiner Wars, I'm set?
Mostly I have Combiner Wars and I'm set. Like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I would maybe go after a Ruination repaint.
Yeah.
Bruticus, just because that means something to me. And they do look really good, and I think them being all built in is really fantastic. But I'm out of MP. And I have issues paying $100 per limb these days.
Yeah. Well, I will say this: anybody that stays away from this set because they're like, "Oh, MP toys aren't fun," the Bruticus set is so fun. It is. It's very intuitive, and everything's well made. There's not a lot of paint on it, which I find is a detriment, but a lot of people like because they don't have to worry about paint chips and stuff. You can be a little meaty with it, and it'll be fine. Yeah.
I think the thing that I have a hard time with some of these Masterpiece combiners is there's never been a consistent scale with them. And so, if you want, it's like, okay, MMC's now done a couple, and Fans Toys has not quite finished their couple, and X-Transbot hasn't finished theirs, and whatever, and then, the Generation Toy and whatever that they did, a few of theirs, and but it's I can never actually get a consistent thing. So there's one thing with Combiner Wars is at least I can get a consistent scale with all of them and a consistent look. I'm not 100% happy, with them, and I'd still love to have some upgrades, but I don't know. It's
when it comes to G1MP combiners, you can't really mix and match the companies in combined mode at this time. It's kind of how it is now. In alt modes, some of them you can but again, they do different things, and a lot of that's because scale on the cartoon, especially for season 2 combiners, is kind of whew, there's not a. I don't think there's even a chart for them, and scene to scene. So then you have to look literally at the cartoon, and it's all over the place for them. Their Devastator sits inside Astrotrain at one point. What? So it just really goes all over the map. So different companies have taken different things. So Fans Toys, their cars are Starscream sized in robot mode. X-Transbot, so their cars are sized in robot mode. The Bruticus height is honestly they're all different heights. In robot mode, with Brawl being the tallest.
But that's how they look in the cartoon. The Combaticons were as individual bots,
really?
Different sizes. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
but yeah, if you're trying to mix and match them, it can be kind of tough. You kind of just got to pick what fits best to you for whatever team it is, and go with it.
I really do like that the all built-in Bruticus has the show chest. I think that's the only one that does it that I've seen.
I'm not sure if the other ones have different things you can put on there or whatever.
You can swap out the chest on the it's not
Unique Toys?
Unique Toys. You can swap it out for between the toy chest and then the blast off colored wings chest, kind of like the cartoon.
Okay, cool. I like blast off colored wings chest because
Same.
that's what I know.
Yeah.
So from the presentation, what were your guys' favorite figure that was revealed?
Desirus. the Gen 1 X Transbots Desirus is probably my favorite, followed by Rung, followed by the Omnibots. I'm hesitant.
I'm hesitant. Have you seen him before?
I'm hesitant on Raiden because I want to see more.
Right.
Okay.
Because we've been burned before on these reveals. As far as like raw reveals, the Desirus, the Omnibots, and Rung, not necessarily in that order.
About you, Christian?
Rung and Raiden.
Does Energon Prime crack your top list?
Oh, I totally forgot about him. Energon Prime first, then Rung. Then Raiden.
See, even you know it's bad. Your brain, the second your subconscious take over, it's like, man, we're forgetting that piece of crap. Just immediately.
Talk about so many things. A lot of things to talk about.
How about you, Rob?
I really want to say everything X Transbots. If I had to pick though, I mean Desirus is pretty hot. That's pretty hot. I mean my list is pretty much like Peter's. Rung I've been wanting for so long as well. Like it's got to be up there. And then the Omnibots is too cool. A lot of people have wanted that. Like I'm excited for the War of Defensors coming up. I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I got to buy the X Transbots one, but I love the MMC engineering so much. But I don't know. Defensor also doesn't excite me as a character. It's something I buy because it's G1 and it's there. And, I don't hate it. It's just he's not an exciting combiner to me. Like, you show me Computron, I'm much more excited.
Oh, Computron would be hot.
Once the Defensor Wars are over, the Computron Wars will begin.
Yeah, that's true.
Or resume, because we've already had a few. I don't know.
True.
The G1 MP style war.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, those wars
Or
will
will Predaking start up first?
We are, like we said earlier, there's a distinct lack of Gen 1 style Masterpiece Predakings. That's something that I think should begin in earnest, because out of 86 characters, that's pretty much all we're missing aside from Masterpiece, Battle Chargers?
I mean, several of the combiner teams.
No, I'm just saying, like 86 raw. If we were just doing 86, the first half of season 3 or the second half of season 2.
I don't know where those things place.
Okay, so it's the Combaticons, the Stunticons, and the Predacons were at the beginning of season 3.
Okay,
those are 86 product. And aside from, I mean, we've already gotten Octane, we've gotten the Sweeps, we've gotten Cyclonus, we've gotten Galvatron, we've gotten So we just need some Battle Chargers and Predacons, and we're done with 86. And a Masterpiece Tripticon, but he would be 5 feet tall, and that's not happening.
So Fans Toys will announce it, just like they did for Max.
Or Max, yeah, exactly. But I'm reluctant to. I'm excited about Defensor from both X Transbots and MMC Ocular Max, because of the way I collect. I like to have a Gestalt in combined mode from one company, and then the best of the individual guys over here from in another section. But then I end up where I am now, where I have some DX9 Stunticons. I've got the Combaticons from MMC already started. I've got the Stunticons from Fans Toys started. I've got the Stunticons in Generation 2 colors from X Transbots started. And I haven't finished a single set because where are the final figures? Oh no, let's start more sets.
That was my biggest disappointment from this, is that X Transbots didn't have like another trailer reveal. And they've honestly showed us a lot. Like, a lot of people give them shit about it. We've seen it in base modes, like from 800 angles, and we've seen it combined. We've seen we know it's there. We've seen it, but they've said, we're going to have final photos, and they didn't show up. That's the real problem, and we're not seeing a pre-order for it. But my problem I have is that X Transbots makes my favorite G1 MP stuff right now, and so I want them for that. But they're also the one they're all about making G2 repaints and fun repaints. But like, I want the other companies to do that so I can buy their product and have a spot for it, But, I'm leaning more and more to I'll just combine one and I'll have one in robot mode. We'll see. What about you, Lucas?
Rob, I will say I appreciate that you named off like half the panel as your favorite. So
I copied Peter. I mean, my favorite was Desirus. If I had to put a gun to my head, probably that.
Yeah.
But it's really fighting with Rung because I've been wanting that figure for so long.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
I will say that Rung was probably my top. I mean, that was kind of a surprise, out of left field for that. So that's probably my top. I'm really looking forward to that MMC Optimus Prime as well. I'd say that as far as like the non-MMC division, like, the Planet X Grimlock I think would be cool, and then those Omnibots I think are really neat. Like, they may actually be something that I might pick up, as well as like a one-off kind of thing, because there's not a lot of Masterpiece anymore. Yeah, 3 off. There's not a lot of Masterpiece anymore that I actually get. So, like, if you can actually get those look really neat. And I really like the X-Transbots, the Stunticons, like when I had them before I sold them. So I think that if these are similar quality to that, like, I think I might be tempted.
I mean, 598 Robots does all the XTB stuff, so I would assume them to be in that vein. And those renders look like they came just like I expect them to be pretty much just like those, with, dorky attack modes and everything. So let's hope we see them in 2 years. That'd be great.
Yeah, exactly. When we can actually go to a convention again, right? Cross our fingers.
One thing that came up that we didn't mention, and it wasn't in the slide deck, but it was a reveal over the weekend, out of, again, like left field, but also a callback. The Generation 2 Motor Master by Fans project.
Oh yeah, that's an exclusive this year, right?
Yeah, we ran through the exclusives, but we didn't mention that. They finished it. Neat. It's been 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
I think it's great that they finished it for people waiting to finish that set, but that's also one of the worst toys I've ever played with.
That one still holds the record for me for the longest. Like, what the help? Please, someone stop this madness transformation sequence. I was so frustrated with that thing.
Never again.
I do appreciate that they managed to get it over the finish line. I think Boris from Aegis 3 and Up had a hand in that, of like just saying, please, like, just I need to commission this, get this out, whatever. So I think he had been the one kind of pushing that along to finish that set. So I don't know, somehow if he also then goes to make toys and does the Shattered Glass Computron, like, he will be a miracle worker. Because they released 2 figures from that, like, I don't know how many years ago.
4 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and then never released any others. So
yeah, their Computron still is one of those, looks amazing in all modes. They look so great. It's not as bad as Diesel was, but it also has your fingers are gonna bleed because they're so pointy, and it's very hard plastic, and it's not the funnest transformation. Like, not all of them are terrible. They're not great either. But yeah, the Shattered Glass ones looked great, but I never had confidence they would finish it, and so I just,
right,
let it be.
Do you think that's the last we'll see of Fans Project?
Probably. I don't know.
It's kind of funny how, things come and go in waves.
It's
Keith used to be kind of garbage tier product, and now I feel he's my number 1, but I think most people probably put him at number 2, under Fans Toys. But and meanwhile, Make Toys and Fans Project are like, are they dead yet? Are they going to do stuff? And if they announce them, it's like, oh wow, they're not dead yet.
So
I got the first version of Ollie by XTB.
Oh,
yeah. So watching the rise of XTB has been really satisfying.
I think it's a case of, like seeing like posts from Danny or iBot, who I think is Keith or whatever. Like, I feel like he's passionate about it, either owns the factory or has very high things to it, and like wanted to do it right. And that's why they did Ollie like 2 or 3 times, because he's like, we're going to do it better. We're going to do it better. You can buy it for cheaper. You can buy it for half off. So like, we're pretty much giving it to you at cost, because like we can't just give it to you, but we're going to, as best they can. Which, how often do you see that? You don't.
Right.
And then when their breakdown got knocked off as a side swipe, they're like, fine, we're going to put out our breakdown at almost cost again, to shoot that guy down. So I think the passion really shows with what Keith is doing, which I like versus TF Club or TFC, sorry, which I always felt we bought so many of their combiners because they were doing them all, but it felt like somebody was doing it as a job. It never felt passionate. It's like, oh, we got to check that box, so let's do that now. And it came through.
And sales, matched that level of passion when it became obvious that they were not serious about it.
But yet that's still our only Piranacon from third party.
And that's my favorite one, I think.
Road Caesar too.
And our only Road Caesar. Other than G1, probably.
Yeah,
there's some great animals.
I was gonna say, Fans Project, I think is just not really it's not really worth it for them to do stuff anymore. Just because I think Hasbro's just eaten into their market too much. That it's hard for them to produce the figures at the cost they need to do it and sell enough product to make money. So, but I don't know. I think it'd be neat if they could come back and do some stuff, but
they'd have to do something and just knock it right out of the park and fit a niche that everyone is, hoping to, fill or whatever at a cost that people want to pay. And there are too many boxes to check, I think.
But is there anything that Fans Project has done where you could even say that, of their past figures where you're like, oh, well, this is an absolute home run. I really love this figure.
Glacial
City Commander, Glacial Lord, the first the Springer Defender, Warbot Defender. The first 3 years of their product was just at the time
groundbreaking,
absolutely perfect for what it was at the time. Yes, exactly, groundbreaking. It was.
I love Glacial Lord top to bottom. It is such a fun release, but I think it also kind of sunk the company. It did not do well from every indicator I've heard, even though I'm absolutely in love with it, from the packaging to they got lost on the barge, but here's the Korean release. That was so silly and so fun. I have the sticker book.
The sticker book.
Yep.
So it's, if they had kept going with the retro future line, I would have, it's an original design. There's not that, most people are really worried about Hasbro threat, but there's zero threat of anything, Right. I would have bought all of it. I wish they could have made that work.
It slots in perfectly with those Gem. It's beautiful. You're looking at yours. I've got mine over here.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that would have come based on conversations we've had, the things that would have come would have been amazing.
Just more of that throwback to the gimmick, but original things.
Accelerators.
Those designs were sold. Remember, we saw those in a slideshow under a different company at some point a couple years ago.
Moss is going to make them. They're totally
that's right. It was Moss. Oh,
thanks, Peter. Right after they make my Seekers. So,
they're totally coming, Peter. Don't worry about
it. Yeah. Don't you worry.
So, overall, I felt this was a pretty solid third-party panel. Better than the past few years, because the past few years, the only thing to come out of it was some Fans Toy stuff that is probably 5 years out, if that. Keith hasn't contributed to the third-party panel in a while,
right?
And for several years there, the third-party panels were so much stuff that was already out. People were advertising stuff that was already out, and I actually think TFCon said, "Hey, stop that! If it's something that's just come out, okay, but we're shit that's 6 months old, we're going to stop it." I think that was a policy change, but I don't know. So this was a really good third party.
I mean, I think especially considering that it was virtual, and all that, there's not an actual convention to go along with it. I think it was nice.
I think there were multiple jaw hitting the floor, screaming things in here. Rung, the room would have exploded.
Yep.
I think Desirous would have been a smash as well. I think the Omnibots would have been a smash as well. I think it would have been cool to have the crowd reaction on that. It's fine that it's not. but it would have been fun. But a great panel. Great reveals. IMO.
All right, well, tomorrow night, check us out on Microcasters on the tftalk.net Facebook page. We'll be doing, what are we doing, Christian?
Doing Cyberverse Thunder Howl.
Yeah, yay.
And Macadam, I think.
I think so.
I'm not doing that one because I don't have the pieces, and I'm not going to have the pieces. But I think Anna got them, and she's doing it.
Yeah, I gave her my Macadam pieces, and she was able to finish them, so she's excited to show them off, and I think that we may have a special guest since I don't have these figures myself. So anyway, so check that out if you're interested. That's what we'll be doing tomorrow night. And, of course, Cut the Tape on Fridays, Saturdays. Rick put one up, I think, on Saturday, so check that out as well. And if you want to continue the conversation, check us out on our Discord. The link should be with YouTube, but it's also pinned up on top of our Twitter. And of course, we also have the book club if you want to participate in that. That's on our Discord, and we talk live with that on Sunday nights at 8:30, I believe, Central, 9:30 Eastern. I think that's it. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Zaldrum, Paul, Catherine. Trying to think if we had. Yeah. So, and Zaldrun, I know, was asking about Ouch My Wallet. So we're looking at retooling the show potentially, and so we're still kind of talking about it. Again, as far as like it may be like it's not necessarily going to be a regular show, but we may do some here or there as we get stuff. I think that we've had a few droughts for some people, and getting stuff and whatnot. But hopefully, look to our channel and we'll let you know when we do it again. We're looking to hopefully potentially do another one here in a couple weeks, like a week or two. So, but if we can kind of get everything together. So, all right. Well, thanks everyone, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.